How's it going, fellers? Got some more TikTokers.
So Peter from Virginia shared some interesting trail camera photographs with me tonight, and honestly, I'm speechless. So he told me he had something he wanted to show me, and he said, "You're probably going to think that I'm crazy." I'm like, "No, I've gotten some pretty crazy stuff over the last couple weeks. I'm not going to think you're crazy, Peter." So he's like, "I got a couple game camera photos I want to share with you, and I think I caught a zombie in the woods in Virginia." And I'm like, "Wow, that's pretty cool. I'd love to see it." So anyways, he shared these photographs with me that were captured on his trail camera in Virginia. And he said he's never seen this thing when he was out scouting or hunting. He said, but he caught these photographs late at night, and he thinks it's a zombie. He doesn't know where it came from. He doesn't know where it went to. But you check out these pictures, and they're pretty eerie. I don't know what the hell this thing is, but that's not any human that I've ever seen, and it's not an animal. It looks like a zombie from The Walking Dead. But check out these pictures and tell me what you think. Is Peter nuts, or is Peter telling the truth? You be the judge.
That looks like a zombie. There's two of them, or looks like three. But that looks like a zombie, doesn't it? Let's see, is there any more? Looks like 1, 2, 3. Or that might be a tree. But it definitely looks like two of them. What do you think? It looks like he's got a wound on his chest. Tell me what you guys think. Yeah. That's a zombie. Oh, you think that's real? I don't know.
Bible talks about zombies. I'm super serious. Zechariah 14:12. And the Lord will send a plague on all the nations that fought against Jerusalem. Their people will become like walking corpses, their flesh rotting away. Their eyes will rot in their sockets, and their tongues will rot in their mouths. On that day, they will be terrified, stricken by the Lord with great panic. They will fight their neighbors hand to hand. And if we jump to Zechariah 14:15, it says, this same plague will strike the horses, mules, camels, donkeys, and all the other animals in the enemy camps. This is a plague for humans and for animals. Walking corpses, rotting flesh. There is nothing new under the sun. They are not coming up with creative ideas for these movies. They are just taking it straight out the Bible. Y'all have got to get up in here because it is the most interesting read. I'm telling y'all, Game of Thrones don't have nothing on the Bible. When you think of Lot's daughters, when you think of like Abraham telling people that was his sister and it low-key half was. When you think of the queen that had John like beheaded and used her stepdaughter to kind of like seduce the king and to get him to do that. Listen, the point is the Bible don't have, Game of Thrones don't have nothing on the Bible. That is the point, okay? This is an interesting book. Get up in here. I don't think there's anything that's not in here.
Yeah, I agree. I think even if you don't believe the Bible, I think you should read it. By the way, this video, a lot of zombie stuff in it. I'm pretty sure there's more clips about zombies. I just think it's interesting. I mean, could they really exist?
Did you see the thing in the Epstein files?
Oh yeah, like
They
those
ordered-
Epstein files. In fact, I can't believe that like everybody just kind of like, oh, well, okay, and they're moving on with their lives. Did you see that guy at the Atlanta airport flipping out, the well-dressed black dude who just freaks out in the Atlanta just like a couple of days ago? I saw it on YouTube, and I saw it on Twitter or X, and this guy's just freaking out in the Atlanta airport. He's like, yeah, I read the Epstein files. Like all of you, you're going about your lives like nothing's happening. Look at you're all zombies. And he's right. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Everybody is just numb to everything. Like, dudes, we had a global pandemic, aliens, all these like revelations. People are, eating babies. We want to be deceived. We don't want to believe the horrors that are actually behind the veil.
Well, I think with the Epstein files, people are, because of these emails that have been released, people are just now starting to be aware of the bizarreness of the code and some of the things, like the facts. Like, let's just talk about the sulfuric acid.
And so everything is possible.
Sorry for pausing it. Joe Rogan's one of them. You know, I mean, he has to be having the largest podcast or whatever. Yeah.
The question is it probable? And
Well, Jamie just pulled up that was the first time they had ever ordered that.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so well, there it is.
Yeah. That's not good.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, that's the least of the things. The thing is, we become desensitized to stuff. I mean, look at everything that has happened in the last 6 years. It's like an insane amount of stuff has happened, and everyone's just kind of like numb to it. mRNA is reprogramming your system, and we've been looking at a giant die-off of people. People are collapsing left and right. Nothing is normal anymore. I mean, that guy at the airport who's flipping out, that's what he's realizing. He's having a sudden awakening, and he's tweaking over it. He's like, and he's looking around, and no one cares. Everyone just wants to, like, get through their day.
They do.
Everyone wants to just make their next movie, and maybe they'll let me make their next movie. And everybody wants to just, I just want to keep going at my job, and I just want to do my thing, and I just want to protect my thing.
There's certainly a lot of that going on. But don't you think that more people are aware of what's going on right now? There's more pushback than ever before, and so there's a possibility that it could be stopped.
Yeah, look at that guy. Look at that guy in the airport, though. Everyone's like, he's crazy. Like,
yeah, but
nobody
you're
wants to get
yelling at a
involved.
fucking airport. I would think he's crazy too.
Well, it's
if
like
I was there
it's
waiting for
invasion of
my
the-
flight to go visit my parents, and there's some fucking guy yelling out the Epstein file. You're just living your life. Like, yeah, what do you want me to do, dude?
the Kevin McCarthy movie.
Okay, so
And in the end, look how that movie ends. That movie ends with him, like that guy in the airport on the street. They're aliens. Yeah, he's basically running through the street just in traffic. People just keep driving.
whoopsies.
And has the world been the same since then?
The SEC, like having that there too, boy, that's super convenient. Guys, we lost the data. Let's just start from scratch. There's no case anymore. Whatever they were doing.
And yet nobody wants to accept it. Nobody cares.
What's the
actually.
video of it that is like really shocking? I had this really dumb guy on the podcast once that was a skeptic, a professional skeptic, and he was really angry with me for saying that it looked like a controlled demolition. You're promoting a dangerous conspiracy theory. I'm like, no, I'm saying it looks like. You're saying it doesn't look like a control. Let's watch it. I'm like, let's watch it.
I mean,
it falls.
Yeah. I forgot I got this cool clip on here. It's a little long, I think. It's like 5 minutes or so, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna start it.
We need to get this meeting started. Before we begin, I want to make sure that everybody has picked up their copy of the briefing notes. There are more details. I'm going to give you the outline. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I've called this special meeting of the Zombie Hazard Command because we have vital new information and new problems to discuss. Go through some security.
Sorry for pausing it, but I mean, does anybody know, is this from a movie, or I mean, you think this is real?
Bear with me a moment. All right, first, a little housekeeping. National Security Order 21Z, it passed. Our operational authority is supreme. Use it. Now back to the topic at hand. As you know, we've been battling a unique biological threat and we've made little progress. Lack of any live specimens. If a body's found at all, it's already permanently dead. Now, we finally have a live specimen. But before you get too excited, let me stress that it's only one. We need more. So why does this problem exist? Well, the reason for problem number one is problem number two. We have an unknown assailant or assailants. Unknown assailant profile. We have no leads as to the identity of the assailant. Ballistics are untraceable. That's not exactly true. We do know at least most of the time they're using Z-Max ammunition. Weapons in use are 9mm, 45 caliber, and edged weapons. Probable gender, male. Body type, they're strong, muscular, athletic. They're well armed and well trained with munitions. They have a possible military or police background. And they're probably skilled in a variety of martial arts to include hand-to-hand combat. If you're on scene, Look for someone fitting this profile. Apprehend if possible, eliminate if necessary. For you jokers out there, I know this describes everyone on the Z teams. So, know your team members. It's a retrovirus, and there's no cure. This scientist's notes indicate prions may also be involved in the infectious process. However, at this point it remains unclear what, if any, role they play. Remember the single life subject I mentioned earlier? Unfortunately, the subject and scientist are one and the same. We do not know how much time he has left before he's no longer of any use, except perhaps for deciding mind during operations. Problem number 4. Mode of transmission, currently unknown. Transmission modes ruled out: bites, scratches, casual contact, vector infection, droplet, or airborne spread. Some Z team members can attest to the fact that bites and scratches don't spread infection, at least not yet. To date, 12 team members have been wounded while engaged in field operations. They've undergone mandatory 90-day quarantine. None have showed any signs of infection. Not all team members are out of quarantine yet, but we hope they'll be released and return to active duty soon.
Now, this one surprised me because all the movies.
5. Emerging public awareness of the situation. I'm going to mention each of these points, then talk about them in greater detail. There are things you need to know. First, the Coconut Grove fly-in. Many of you were there. Then there's the Miami incident. Some of you were there. The CDC Zombie Apocalypse Preparedness Release. DHS released a fake zombie preparedness story. Then there's the recent purchases of large quantities of ammunition.
So it's definitely not from a movie. You know what I mean? It's talking about that preparedness plan, right? Plus, I don't know what movie would have a scene like this in it, you know?
About the Coconut Grove fly-in, Z Teams 1, 2, and 3 cleaned down a zombie cell. That got a lot of public attention. Our cover story was that this was an urban assault exercise in preparation for the upcoming UN meeting. For now, our cover story is holding, but one got away. That led to the Miami incident. That should never have happened. About the Miami incident. Some of you were there. Our cover story was bath salts. That was blown when the autopsy results were leaked. There were no bath salts present. We're still dealing with the fallout, and we're investigating the leak. The CDC Zombie Apocalypse Preparedness Release, it was sent out against our wishes. Then they changed their story. This brought even more attention to it than if they'd just left it alone. Next, DHS released a fake zombie preparedness story, also against our wishes, but it's out there, so we're going to use it as our cover story. Next month, DHS is running a 1,000-person training exercise in San Diego. Z Teams 2, 4, and 5 will be doing a cleanup operation in another part of the city at the same time. This gives us plausible deniability. I shouldn't have to stress how important this is. Make certain none of them get away. Want another Miami incident. About the ammo purchases. We've used news and various media outlets to float the idea that unprecedented large ammo purchases are for government agencies to defend against civil unrest in anticipation of economic collapse. Those of you in this room know all too well that this is a much nicer bedtime story than the truth. Reality is much less pleasant. Right now, the cover story is working. We're floating this idea in Louisiana, New York, and Chicago. Animal attacks, we're floating that story in Georgia, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. We estimate 2 years of viability for these cover stories. Finally, problem number 7, public distribution of full disclosure of current operations. Some brainiac has lined up all the recent events and past history like beads on a string. We don't know where he's getting his information, but too much of the actual facts of our operation are woven into the story. It's not coincidence. He's getting his information somewhere. The story is Dr. Eve Zombie Killer. It's presented as a fictional novel. LabyrinthOfArts.com is an independent website where the book can be found. For those of you who are wondering, we currently have no plans to shut down this website. We need to gather further intelligence, find out what their sources of information are, and plug whatever leaks we find. Right now, John Q. Public does not know what's happening. We'd like to keep it that way. If you have any questions, I'll address them in my office after the meeting. You now have the facts as we understand them. This briefing is adjourned. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good day.
Sounds like there's zombies. I don't know. I hadn't seen that clip before. What do you think? Looks like that dude had a zombie in his yard.
Hey guys, let's talk about what your ER doctor really thinks. My name's Rochelle and I've been an ER doctor for about 25 years. Today we're going to go over a couple more of the ICD-10 codes, or the diagnosis codes that we can use. So these ones I thought were kind of interesting, especially since these things don't really exist, so I'm really confused. It's an entire zombie section. I know there's a lot of zombie movies and there's a lot of fear and talk about zombies and whatnot, but remember, they're really not a thing. But apparently they're enough of a thing that there are codes. So the first section is injured by falling zombie, and more specifically out of a tree or out of a plane. I've flown a lot and I have never seen a zombie on the plane, let alone one that's falling out of the plane. I'm very confused. Another section that I thought was interesting is there's an entire section of injured by object thrown by a zombie, and some very, very specific codes that are out there are a lawnmower thrown by a zombie, or an elephant tusk thrown by a zombie. I mean, again, there are no zombies, but if there were, how did they get the tusk?
Right.
And why are they thrown? So there's also a leg thrown by a zombie. And maybe it was another zombie's leg and they were able to pull it off the other zombie and throw it at you. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's just a few of the zombie codes available in the ICD-10. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
That's weird. Like, so zombies, so they exist, but they throw stuff. Like, that doesn't sound good, and it sounds like they'd be fast, too. I don't know. If zombies really did exist, you wouldn't want them fast zombies. I mean, we'd be screwed.
Forgive me for looking all around because I'm driving right now. But I want to talk to y'all about some zombies for entertainment purposes only. When I was deployed, we would get into altercations. And for a while, you know, nothing seemed really off. But in like the middle of 2005, or sort of like towards the beginning of it. Anyways, it was like right at the beginning of my deployment. Like, we would get into firefights with people and we would shoot them 4, 5, 6 times. They would fall, they would lose ligaments, and they would get up and continue to fight. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Then comes Operation Phantom Fury. Operation Phantom Fury. If you go on YT and type that in, there's a part where you see Marines talking clear as day on top of a rooftop, where they done shot this dude, I don't know how many times, threw a grenade on him, seen him laying in a pool of blood for entertainment purposes only. And they go down there and he's gone. I was right around the corner from that. Like, these folks would be eating opium. They'd be cool for like 5-10 minutes. I don't know if that's all they was eating, but they would be high off this opium from these poppy plants that we was helping protect for entertainment purposes only. They would eat this shit. 1 second they be talking about how much they love America and how great we are. And 10 minutes later, they be on top of a rooftop or in a manhole, slugging it out, laying shit down. Like, we got investigated, and there's an article that y'all can go find right now that's still floating around, if y'all think this is cap, where Marines were getting investigated for too many headshots, entertainment purposes only. Too many headshots. They were saying we were executing people. What was happening was we was shooting these people in their chest. We was taking off ligaments. I mean, we was doing real damage to people. And people would fall. You think they was dead, and they were dead. Bleeding out, not even breathing. And they would get the fuck up off the ground and continue to fight. So like I said, we were getting investigated. Oh, there's too many headshots coming from these Marines. Well, we had to make sure they was dead. And we wasn't executing people like how they would say they thought we was doing it, like up close and personal. No, we was a little bit of distance away when we was putting shit through people's craniums for entertainment purposes only. But yeah, y'all think this is cap? Go find that story. It's still out there. Go on YT, type in Operation Phantom Fury. And if you think that's cap, ask any Marines that fought in Haditha, Al-Qaim, Heat, where else? Damn near everywhere. Ramadi. Ask any Marines from 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines. Ask any Marines from 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines. Ask any goddamn Marine that was over there in the early 2000s. After 2003, 4-ish. Ask them. You think this is cap? Yeah, zombies.
I don't know, you think their poppy plants were messed with? Like, you know, some kind of chemicals dumped on them or something? I was in Iraq. I didn't see anything like that. But, I mean, I wasn't in the spots that he named off either, so. I don't know. What about any of you? Anybody seen anything like that?
It's got me thinking, like, y'all don't realize, like, how close we are to a zombie apocalypse at any given moment. Okay, so, you know, coronavirus was like a big deal back in 2020, right? Well, that was a virus that naturally occurred in animals for centuries, like a long time, right? Cattle have had a different strand of coronavirus for as long as we know, and it just kind of mutated to affect humans, right? And there's a lot of people that say it was lab grown, whatever. Either way, it now can naturally occur in humans. If rabies were to ever naturally occur in humans, unlike it does now, where it can only naturally occur in animals and then it can get spread to humans, we would have a full-blown zombie apocalypse on our hands in a matter of no time. It wouldn't be like what you imagine, though, because it wouldn't last very long. So it takes weeks before you show signs of rabies. So once you have rabies, you would probably be spreading it to people for a couple weeks. You know, somebody drank after you, if you kissed them, what have you. If children got it, if they accidentally scratched another kid, what have you. It would run rampant pretty fast, but it'd be weeks before anybody noticed. But by the times that the signs of rabies started, rabies is a weird virus that wants to spread. It is weird. It takes over the mind. So animals that have rabies want to bite other animals. It's really strange how it works. But it also doesn't want to live either, because animals get a phobia of water after so many stages of rabies has happened. And that's what they actually die from, is dehydration. And you could actually watch videos of humans that have rabies, and by the time it shows signs that it's really far along, they're afraid to drink water. And you can actually watch this video of this man that's terrified of water. Like, he has a full-blown phobia of a glass of water. it's one of the creepiest, most chilling videos you can ever watch. But by the time that sign is present, it's pretty much 100% fatal. Like it's almost not survivable. So the zombie apocalypse would rage for about a month, and of course there'd be staggered variations because not everybody be affected on day one. So people that were affected 2 weeks in, you know, it would technically be prolonged another couple weeks, but the biggest wave of it would be over in the first month. And then that would be it. And then it would just be a crazy thing that happened.
Man, think about that. I haven't heard that before. Oh, buddy. And people would still be fast.
Doing a little bit of a series on different types of creatures and stuff, or like monsters and stuff like that have real life examples of them. And the zombie one is interesting because normally you'll read a list and it'll be something like you'll hear about ants, which there's a type of ant that'll get a fungus, and the fungus takes over the brain of the ant, and it'll basically control the ant, make it like spread the fungus, right? Or you hear about things like chronic wasting disease in deer, which is kind of like a zombie like virus in deer that happens. Sometimes you'll hear about you remember the 2012 Florida zombies at all?
Was that the people who were taking the bath salts? Was those the people who were taking the drugs and then eating each other up?
Yeah, because in 2012, on May 26, 2012, there's a guy named Rudy Eugene, and he attacked this guy named Ronald Popo, and this whole thing was caught on video. It was like 18 minutes long. He literally
it was like under a bridge, right? He was like under the bridge. He was eating the guy's face off.
He was eating the guy's face. It was called the 2012 Causeway.
Dude, that newscaster commentator, he's weird.
Cannibal. There's another guy a few months later in the same area of Florida that like bit a bicep off of a cop and then was tased 5 times. In both these cases, they didn't die till like headshots. It was very zombie-like. But what I wanted to talk about was the whole Haitian thing, because in 1996, there was a paper from the Lancet where they actually went to Haiti and studied scientifically real cases of zombies. And the whole idea of zombies is actually very different than what we think of, because we think of the George Romero. If you ask people like what the first zombie movie is, they'll usually say Night of the Living Dead. They're not familiar with White Zombie. Have you heard of this movie at all from the 1930s?
No, I haven't heard of White Zombie. I've seen Serpent in the Rainbow, though, kind of similar, right?
Okay, so Serpent in the Rainbow is actually one of the cases I want to talk about. That is based on a real life case, yeah. But when the idea of zombies came to America originally, it was in a 1932 film called White Zombie, and it was basically about a plantation owner that was turning people into mind control slaves. So the word zombie actually comes from Haiti. And the whole concept comes from there, but we've just kind of Americanized it, changed to like this flesh-eating bacteria type stuff. But yeah, no, the original zombie is a Haitian folklore about Bokors, or essentially witch doctors for voodoo, that dig up people, raise them back from the dead, and turn them into a type of slave. So
it's terrifying. And what's crazy too is that this is a belief system that still seems to have prevalence in Haiti. It's not something that like we're studying in the anthropological past, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, in Haiti, it's just common knowledge amongst villagers that people get turned into zombies. They build their cemeteries on the sides of heavily traveled roads and things like that, put heavy like stone slabs over graves for the specific reason they don't want people to be dug up and turned into zombies. Yeah.
And tell us what this Lancet study found. What is the medical phenomena that might be explaining what people are witnessing here?
Yeah, it's interesting. They did 3 case studies in 1996, and they didn't really have an answer to it. It kind of just went through a few of them. The main one that you were talking about, I forgot the name of the movie. You said it a minute ago.
The Serpent in the Rainbow.
The Serpent in the Rainbow is about a guy named Clairvius Narcissi, and in 1980 he comes home to his village, is looking for his sister. People are like, this guy looks familiar, but he finally, they get his sister Angela Narcissi, and he introduces himself with a childhood name, a name that only his family would know, only his sisters and siblings and parents and stuff. And she realizes that this is in fact her brother. The problem is he died and was buried 18 years prior. So he tells the story of how in 1962 he had basically a fever and fatigue. He was spitting up blood, the whole thing. And when they pronounced him dead in May, on May 2nd, they put him in cold storage for a day. They buried him, and he was literally dug up and given a paste by a Bokor that is like comes from a type of a highly poisonous nightshade called Datura. And this is it basically is kind of MK Ultra-ish. And I think that's kind of the answer behind a lot of this is it doesn't sound as much like a flesh-eating bacteria thing as like an actual LSD mind control thing that our government ended up studying with the CIA in the 1940s and 50s and 60s. And in fact, went back into Haiti to study this exact thing. They were thinking that these people were either being given something that mimicked death, and then they were digging them up and giving them mind control paste. Our government actually tried to study this. Doctors tried to study this and use this for anesthesia. And the craziest part of the whole thing is that they could never really get it to work. And when they talk to the Bokors, they're like, well, of course you can't get it to work. It's not purely scientifical. There is a whole black magic voodoo ritual behind it. So you can look at this in a few different ways. Is that, again, you can look at it from the purely scientifical MK Ultra aspect, but the fact that they can't quite get it to work, it definitely leaves some interpretation open for some darker connotation.
Strange. I don't know. They say Haiti's got some wild stuff over there.
National Guard. And what are we doing here, Specialist Woolman?
Well, as you see, we have a couple lanes set up here. We've had some zombie activity in these derelict buildings in this little Salem, little country town. We're just trying to clear it out, trying to keep everybody safe. We haven't had any casualties come through just yet, but we have had some gunshots in these surrounding buildings.
All right, why don't we take a walk down there and see? So how common are these things?
Well, we're thinning out the herd slightly, but it's still a really menacing threat.
Yeah, people don't know that it's actually a biological threat, not a chemical or radiological, like people are meant to know.
That's a super common misconception, but biological as it is, it's like a rash, it's something in the environment that you just have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? We're doing the best we really can.
It springs up, I think in America it springs out fairly commonly. I'd say once every 3 months somewhere in America. All right.
Now, you see this big building right here?
Yeah.
We already cleared this one out about 2 hours ago. But we're still hearing noises. We still hear some scraping around in there. We think there might be a couple little things still going on. But we're going to send another sweep through there. And I just said we're right now set up for any possible contamination.
All right, and the point of this right now is to decon any of our guys or any civilians that are caught.
Absolutely, anything from.
Sorry for pausing it, but do you think? I mean, this looks real. I mean, I'm not gonna say it is, but you think they've been like testing this stuff out, like some kind of, whatever, poisoning people, whatever, but testing this out on small places, and they're just gonna release it on the wide public event eventually, like to bring the population down or whatever. Like on the Georgia Guidestones, what is it, like 500 million is where they want it at?
From a slight blood splatter to a full-on bite or a penetrating wound.
Fun fact, not everyone who gets bitten transforms. I know there's a lot of misconception with all the movies and stuff going on. Fairly common to see these guys just laughing. I mean, it's a pretty safe thing. A full-blown epidemic is pretty much not likely to happen. You have to have a predispositioned ability to get turned into one.
Absolutely. Not only that, but it's a bite that really kills you. You already have the strand available in your stream to turn into this zombie or this flesh eater or this. Biggest misconception is that they don't go for the brain. A lot of TV shows put that out that they eat brain, but no.
But nevertheless, we take this quite seriously.
Absolutely.
It's a huge operation we have going right now. We liaison with several different guard agencies and even the Homeland Response.
Yeah, so you can see their major vehicle is just on the other side of this tent. We have to get to a better vantage point to really.
All right, let's take a walk. Yeah.
Yeah, just watch a step. Watch a step.
Of course. I mean, we don't really choose the areas these things happen at, and we got the best option, best place where to do it.
Yeah, you notice how it's basically a backyard, but you gotta do what you gotta do, or with what you have. And around this corner, nice fresh mud. Actually, does slow down the zombie herd.
But that just turned out to be advantageous. Right now we're being by the generators, so we probably won't be able to hear much. We got a huge generator, farm, factory set up, stretchers, any wounded.
Now these mobile stations up here are the Homeland Defense. They're fairly well organized and they're really the first responders. We see another one of our derelict buildings. Yet to be cleared out, but we haven't heard a whole lot of activity from it. That's one of our next major hotspots to hit.
We have MPs around the whole area containing the situation so it doesn't spread.
A perimeter is super important in a situation like this. We control what's going on the site, but we have to control what's going on around the site as well.
That we do. And we have a...
Now take a look at this building again.
All right.
Right there right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw some movement up in the upper building, just making a final sweep through. Yeah, you see the shadows playing there. There's definitely somebody walking around in there, trying to take care of business, clean up the mess. And that's another thing. You don't want wild animals eating this stuff.
No, it's seldom they turn to zombies because it's mostly a human strain, I guess. But
yeah, it's more of the zombies carrying it, or more of the animals carrying it to another person, biting a person, kind of like rabies, but more human selective.
Right. And the person actually has to die of their own accord and then become a zombie.
Right, absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, we'll get some more footage next, and hopefully this has been informative for people who didn't know this was a big issue. Signing off.
Knowledge is definitely the first.
I've been Specialist Kamielinski.
Specialist Wolin, thank you for the opportunity for this interview.
All right, bye.
What is that? Where's this video from? Has anybody else seen this before? I think I've seen at least part of it before, but like, you know what I mean? Where'd it come from? I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. What? I got a question, I guess. I thought about making another channel, like Nugget Farm Reacts or something like that. Just reacting to other type of content. Would anybody watch that? Let me know in the comments and tell me what you think about this stuff. Do you think zombies are real? You think that sounded like The Walking Dead. I know this isn't from The Walking Dead, but that sounded like it, like the whole they got to die first to come back alive. I know I've watched a lot of The Walking Dead. I haven't seen like all the the spin-offs, but I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know. Tell me what you think in the comments. That's the last that's the last clip I got. I thank you for watching. God bless you and your families. And I hope you have an awesome day. Thank you. Bye.